Good morning, everyone. Just give y'all a second to get back in here. I was running late this morning. I had a lot going on here. You know how it is with dogs. You got to work around them, work around their schedule. I had to get them settled down. Oh, crap. What am I doing? I'm trying to get on YouTube on my phone so I can see the live chat. StreamYards really needs to change that. They need to fix it to where you can see the live chat. What's the purpose of that damn top chat to begin with? Let me remove this pinned message because that's annoying. Okay. Lisa, Max Power, Samara, Cindy, Light Feather, Blue West, Sonia. Good morning. How are y'all doing? Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so tired. As soon as I got the decorations on the tree last night, I laid down on the couch and I was out. So this morning, we're going to be talking about Diane Downs, by the way. Freaking crazy Diane. I can put the link in the chat if anyone wants to come up and talk about her. I've got a couple good articles that cover Diane from childhood to the murders to, her prison life and stuff. I got two. I've been trying to decide which one I wanted to read because I'm better at reading stuff than trying to explain. Okay, let me fix my phone. Get it propped up. Okay. Morning, Max. Sonia's in a mood. I am too, Sonia, and it's not a good one. I thank your dogs for making you late. This is better for me, give them a treat for me. Hey, Cheryl, Lynn, and Cheryl T. Good morning. Light Feather, you made it. Oh my gosh, I have watched so much Light Feather about Diane Downs. I can hear her voice in my head when I think about her, exactly how she sounds. It's freaking annoying. Hey, Robin G. There's a really good podcast out called Happy Face Season 2, and it's with Diane's daughter. She had in prison looking for her father. It's good. Oh, the Babcock. What is her first name? Crap, I should have took notes. Diane named her Amy. I know that, but, she was adopted, so it's changed. Her last name is Babcock. Is it Becky? I can't remember. Hey, Alyssa. Good morning. Did I say hi to Vicky? I can't remember. Vicky, Cement Shoes, Melissa. I have watched a lot of her also. Oh my gosh. While researching Diane Downs, I come across this phone recording between this lady from Las Vegas and Christy, Diane's daughter. She's a teenager at this time. And she says in that phone call, she can't actually remember, who shot her. It's crazy. Diane did it, though. But let me get into it. Let me find this here. So this happened May 19th, 1983. Let's see, which one do I have pulled up here? Okay, this is a good one because this tells like everything about her. Oh, your chat froze? Go out and come back in. I may have to close some of my tabs out here so I don't buffer. Okay. So it happened in Springfield, Oregon. It says, before Charles Stewart. Okay, before I get started, I don't know who Charles Stewart is. I'm going to have to research him. Before Charles Stewart in 1989 and before Susan Smith in 1994, Diane Downs made national headlines by claiming that an unknown assailant had violently attacked her and her family, causing outrage and making national headlines. The Downs incident occurred on May 19th, 1983, when the 27-year-old mother insisted that she and her three children, Cheryl, Christy, and Danny, had been shot by a stranger on a deserted road in Springfield, Oregon. Local police alerted the public to be on the lookout for a dangerous man with a gun. As the toll of the attack on Downs and her children became clear, 7-year-old Cheryl was dead. 3-year-old Danny was permanently paralyzed from the waist down. 8-year-old Christy was clinging to life, having suffered a stroke because her blood pressure was so low. Diane herself had been shot in the forearm during what she claimed was a struggle with the mysterious stranger. But as would be the case years later with both Stewart and Smith, the shocking truth eventually came to light that Diane Downs had allegedly lied about the deadly attack on her children. The ghastly crimes were not perpetrated by a nameless, faceless stranger, as she told police, but seemingly by Diane Downs herself. Okay, so Diane Downs, her story is they went to see her and her kids. They went to see one of her friends. They had a horse. They petted the horse and stuff. They were on their way back home. It's dark. They like to take the back roads. They take a road they hadn't been down before, according to Diane. And all of a sudden, she sees a stranger in the middle of the road in the darkness, flagging her down. And she stops. Now, who in the hell is going to stop for a stranger on a back road like that? A woman with her kids in the car. Who's going to do that? That didn't make any sense. And she said when she stopped to see what he wanted, she took her keys out of her car. Why would she do that? That doesn't make any sense. She said it was habit. I don't buy that. Not at all. Hey, Stacy, Remy, Very Mary. I learned of her through CC. I can remember seeing this lady on the news when I was little. Like not in 83 because I was 3 years old in 1983, but after her. But I didn't know a lot about her until I started getting on YouTube. Yeah, especially with her kids in the car. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, let me scroll on down here. Reading jogs my memory. So Diane was born in Phoenix, Arizona, 1955, and attended Moon Valley High School, where she met and fell in love with her future husband, Steve. After graduation, the two went their separate ways for a bit. Steve to the Navy, Diane to Pacific Coast Baptist Bible College in California. Diane was expelled from college after 1 year, reportedly because basically she was a slut child. She slept around. She returned home to Arizona and reconnected with Steve. The couple married in November 1973 when Diane was only 18 years old. Now, I saw Steve in a really, really old video. He wasn't a bad-looking guy. The marriage was rocky almost from the start, but she became pregnant quickly and had her first child, Christy, in October 1974. A second child, Cheryl, quickly followed in January 76. Despite the arrival of their two daughters, Diane and Steve's marriage was unstable, and Diane would often take the kids and leave their home, but would always eventually return home to Steve. Diane also had a lot of affairs. She cheated on him a lot. Hey, Will, good morning. Oh, crap. I X'd out my chat. Oh, thanks for the super chat. Good morning, CC. Hope you had a great, happy Turkey Day. Smash that like button, everyone. Oh, thank you, Will. You're so sweet. I didn't know you was live last night. I crashed after I decorated my tree. Okay. Thank you again. Okay. Okay, so the family moved to, I think it's Mesa, Arizona, and Diane and Steve worked at the same mobile home manufacturer. It was in Mesa that Diane had an affair with a coworker and became pregnant yet again. And Steve knew that the baby wasn't his because he had a vasectomy. Yeah, he didn't want to have any more kids. In December 79, she gave birth to her son, Danny. I saw his pictures. He's super cute. He was super cute when he was little. Steve knew that Diane had multiple affairs and that, of course, Danny was not his biological son, but he treated him like he was. You know, he loved him. Steve and Diane divorced in 1980. Then Diane fell in love with a married coworker named Robert Knickerbocker. I thought that his name was Nick. I was pretty sure his name was Nick. Anyways, Robert Knickerbocker, who continuously promised Diane he'd be with her and always reneged. Knickerbocker eventually reportedly told Diane he would leave his wife and move to Oregon with her, where she'd taken a job with the U.S. Postal Service to be closer to her parents. He was just feeding her a line of crap. I think, from what I can understand, when he got around Diane, she talked so much he couldn't think straight. And he would just tell her what she wanted to hear. He was not going to leave his wife for her. Eventually, in early 83, Knickerbocker told Diane that he was not going to leave his wife for her and that he did not want to be a father to Diane's children, or any children for that matter. For Diane, this was the last straw in a series of accumulating disappointment in her life. Oh, and I just want to add, because it's leaving it out, Diane actually, when her and I believe when her and Steve were together, she was a surrogate for a couple that she saw on the Donahue show. That she saw a couple on the Donahue show that wanted to have kids, and they had tried everything. So she got a hold of them, and they let her be a surrogate. I think she tried to do it again, and she couldn't pass the mental evaluation. The therapist or whoever interviewed her for that said she was psychotic. She sounds like, to me, cerebral narc. She's diagnosed, it says, as cluster B, 3 cluster B personality disorders: antisocial, histrionic, and narcissistic. Sonia. Let's see. What else? Oh, yes. When her and Steve were married, Diane became pregnant. And she had an abortion. And it really bothered her after she had the abortion. This is before she done the surrogacy thing. And she actually named the baby she aborted, I forgot what she named it. It seems like its name was Chrissy or something. She's a real nut job. We can watch one of her parole hearings. Okay. It says Diane had only been living in Oregon for 6 weeks when it seemed she just snapped. On the night of May 19th, 1983, Diane was driving with her 3 children. According to Diane, they had visited a friend in the nearby town of Marcola and were driving back to Springfield along a lonely stretch of highway. Diane is said to have claimed that she spotted a bushy-haired man who waved her car down along a desolate road. She then said she pulled over because she thought the stranger needed help. But Diane's story continued that She got out of the car to help. The man told her that he wanted her vehicle. Um, and Diane said she told him, "You've got to be kidding me." I reckon she had just purchased that car. And according to her, she didn't think, things like that could happen in her area. She's a nut, y'all. Um, it says Diane expressed disbelief at the man's request, and he started shooting through the window at her 3 children. Diane said that she then faked throwing her keys out of the car into some bushes, pushed the gunman away, got back into her car, drove off as fast as she possibly could to the hospital with her gravely injured children. She stopped to wrap her arm up before she drove her children to the hospital. And a witness came forward that he actually came upon Diane Downs. She was driving so slow that his speedometer was barely reading. And he ended up passing her. But he came forward after the murder. He was a credible witness, too. Okay, so it says just before 11 p.m., Diane pulled her blood-soaked car up to the door of Mackenzie Willamette Hospital and screamed, "Somebody just shot my kids." Cheryl, 7, lay dead in the front seat. Christy, 8, and Danny, 3, were sprawled in the back seat, clinging to life. And according to Diane, Danny cried all the way to the hospital, and Christy was like moaning. Have y'all ever watched the interviews that she gave to, she gave several different interviews to reporters. She talks about the shooting with like no emotion. She has duper's delight. She smiles at times and is freaking creepy. It's creepy as hell. Anyways, when they were at the hospital, they noticed that her arm was wrapped in a towel pretty neatly. I think later on she said she don't remember how the towel got on her arm. It says authorities brought Diane to the crime scene where police found a .22 caliber bullet casings, but could not find a weapon. When she returned to the hospital, Diane was informed that Cheryl was dead, but her other 2 children had survived the attack. Hospital employees recalled that Diane's attitude was very strange, and she seemed incredibly calm in spite of her tragic situation. The only living witness to the crime was Christy, whose stroke impaired her speech and made her unable to speak to police. 3-year-old Danny was believed to have been asleep at the time of the incident. He ended up paralyzed, I think, from the waist down. Immediately, police suspected that something was amiss. Detectives, like the hospital staff, were struck by Diane's aloof attitude about the shootings and the fact that one of her children had been killed. Actually, Diane was worried about if her car had bullet holes in it, because she had just bought that car. She was more concerned about her car than her kids. I've never seen anyone like Diane. She's just a freaking wackadoodle, y'all. If you watch her in interviews, her eye movement, I don't know, just everything about her. Okay, it says, okay, I lost my place, y'all. It says Diane's story also changed over the course of several interrogations, leading police to suspect that there hadn't been a violent predator on the road that night at all, but rather Diane had attacked her own children and shot herself to make her story more believable. Police interviewed Steve Downs about his ex-wife's wife and discovered that she owned a .22 caliber gun, like the one used in the shooting. Steve also told police that Diane was still obsessed with her ex-lover, Robert Knickerbocker, who had eventually put an end to their torrid love affair. Actually, when this Robert guy broke it off with Diane, she would call his house and talk to his wife, harass them. She would write love letters to him. Some of them she sent, some of them she didn't. Police discovered some when they searched her place, along with her diary. But she was totally obsessed with this guy. And Diane's an attention seeker. She actually showed up where he worked at after he broke it off with her. I think it was right before the murders. Something else Diane did that was really creepy is she bought a unicorn, like a bronze statue, like a unicorn, and had her kids' names engraved on it with the date, like, I think it was like May 13th, 1983, because prosecutors believed that she had actually planned to kill her kids like a few days before the 19th, but she didn't go through with it. But anyways, they think that she got that statue, in memory of them because she planned to kill them. Well, let me see what y'all are saying. Yeah, she was worried about her car with one child dead. When she got to the hospital with her kids, what did she do? She called her lover for attention. Yes, she wanted police to call and notify her lover. Diane was an attention seeker, and people with that histrionic personality disorder, that's what they do. Their self esteem depends on the approvals of others, and they have an overwhelming desire to be noticed. Attention seeking behavior. When police got Diane's diary, of course, she had written in there that Nick didn't want to be with her because he didn't want to be a father. It's not like he didn't like kids. He just didn't want to be a father. There's some people that just don't want to be parents. So when Diane's ex-lover was questioned by police, he admitted to the affair and said that each time he had tried to break off his relationship with Diane, she had become violent. Evidence continued to pile up against Diane. Although the .22 used in the shooting was never found, police found unfired bullets in Diane's home that had the same extractor marks as the bullet casings found at the crime scene. And something else, they found evidence on the outside of the car. They found blood splatter that says that Cheryl was shot outside of the car. Diane claimed that her kids were asleep. That's not true. She pulled over to murder those kids. Can you believe that her brother, her father, her family thinks she's innocent, y'all? For real, I've watched their interviews too. It's crazy. I hope I'm not doing too bad of a job at this. I know I bounce all over the place. Sorry, I've had anxiety this morning. I think Diane's lover, he actually helped police. He recorded phone calls between him and Diane after the murders. Okay. I'm going to order the book by Anne Rule, Small Sacrifices. So 9 months after the shooting, hold on just a minute. missed something. Okay. Diane did try to defend herself against the allegations and said, "Why would I have taken my kids to the hospital? Wouldn't I have made sure they were dead?" And then cried crocodile tears. "That's insane to think that I would do such a thing and then bring the witnesses in against myself. That's crazy." Also, I saw her in an interview say, um, she's like, "What am I supposed to do? Sit here and cry and make you feel sorry for me? I mean, like, your kids were brutally attacked." She has no remorse. To Diane, kids can be replaced. Diane only liked being pregnant because she got attention and special treatment from people. She didn't actually like taking care of the kids once they were born. Steve Downs said Diane, she didn't take care of the kids right. He noticed it with Chrissy right off the bat. Is it Ellie or is it Eli? Hey, welcome. They're freaks. Yeah. They're weirdos. Weirdos. Okay. So 9 months after the shooting on February 28, 1984, Diane was arrested. She was charged with 1 count of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder. Prosecutors argued that Diane wanted to kill her children so she could be free to continue her affair with Robert Knickerbocker, who had been adamant that he did not want to have children. When the trial began, Christy Downs, then 9 years old, had recovered the ability to speak, and she provided extremely damaging testimony for the prosecution. On the witness stand, the young girl was asked if she remembered who shot her. Christy's response, "My mom." Like I said at the beginning of my stream, I heard an interview with her. It was a recorded phone call when she was a teenager at this time, and she said she didn't remember who shot her. Christy said her mother had pulled the car over on the dark, isolated road, retrieved something from the trunk of the car, and started shooting at her and her siblings. On June 17th, 1984, a jury found Diane Downs guilty of murder and attempted murder. She was given a life sentence plus 50 years. I thought I read this morning she got 30 years. In an interesting development, in 1986, Christy and Danny Downs were adopted by Fred Hughey, the lead prosecutor who put their mother behind bars for the rest of her life. It seemed as if Diane Downs' bizarre and tragic story was over. And then she was sent away to prison to serve her life sentence. But on July 11th of 87, Diane escaped the Oregon Women's Correctional Center in Salem for 10 days. Actually, she had made friends with an inmate, and this inmate had shared, "Hey, my husband doesn't live too far from here." So what did Diane Downs do? She escaped and went to that guy's house and shacked up with that woman's husband, another inmate's husband. Diane was a hoe. She probably still a hoe behind bars. She loved married men. I heard her in an interview say that she had 10 lovers in 2 years. Almost all of them were married. She's a freaking snake. Sonia, oh my God, I was on Top Chat. Yeah, 10 lovers. Almost all of them were married. So after, let's see, was it after or before she was arrested? I think it was before she was arrested. She was giving all these interviews and stuff. She started sleeping with a man on her mail route. And she got pregnant by him. And that's the baby that she had after she was convicted. Of course, they took the baby from her. She was adopted. I'm trying to think of her name. Let me find it real quick. Her last name's Babcock. There's a good documentary ABC done. And it's got Diane Downs' daughter in it. What is her name? My mind went blank. Let me find it. I think it is Rebecca. Yeah, it's Becky Babcock. I was right. She does look like Diane. Let's pull up their pictures. So Diane has been denied parole several different times. 2008, 2010, and in 2020, she was denied parole. She's never getting out because at her parole hearing, she shows no remorse. She has always stuck with the same stories. Let's take a look at some of an interview. Hold on a minute. Let me find it. Also, when she shot her kids, the song Hungry Like a Wolf was playing on the radio. And they played that song in court, and Diane was like rocking back and forth. I mean, like she's on trial for murder, and she's acting like that. Okay, here's one. Unplug my mic a second. Share this.
So-called spatter. Take time to point the gun and shoot me, obviously, because he was going. It was like a slow motion was to snap my marriage, my entrapment by society. This man was bigger than me. He was stronger than me. He had more power because he had a gun. And I stood there and I looked at Christy reaching. And the blood that just kept gushing out of her mouth. And what do you do? The gun kept firing and firing and firing. And it was monotonous. It just kept going. It was like a slow motion picture. When he swung around, he was pointing. When he swung around, it hit the tips of my fingers. The gun hit the tips of my fingers. And that snapped me. And I went, wait a minute. I'm not trapped by society. I don't care if he is bigger. If I stand here and I say, yeah, here, take the keys. I mean, there's nothing I can do. You win because you have the gun. My kids are going to die. And I'm not going to let my kids die. And so instead of giving him the keys, I feigned throwing the keys.
Why would you even take the keys out?
He did not take time to point the gun and shoot me, obviously, because he would have shot me the same way he did the kids. When he was swinging in the direction of the keys, firing the gun, he hit my arm. Everybody says, you sure were lucky. Well, I don't feel very lucky. I couldn't tie my damn shoes for about 2 months.
Oh
It is very painful. It is still painful. The scar is going to be there forever. I'm going to remember that night for the rest of my life. I don't think I was very lucky. I think my kids were lucky. If I had been shot the way they were, we all would have died.
The blood splatters on the outside of the car showing Downs shot Cheryl outside of the car.
We saw pictures of this so-called spatter. It's drops. When they took the kids, they took Chris and Cher out of the driver's side of the car, and it's blood droplets. What do I see most is blood coming out of Christy's mouth, because that's what I see. I can't see Danny, and I can't see Cher. Sherry was laying on the floor. Danny is just crying real soft. So that sound stays in my mind. When I go to bed, I cry at night. And even now, I still cry. I dream about Cheryl. But at night, when I close my eyes, I can see Christy reaching her hand out to me while I'm driving. And the blood just keep coming out of her mouth. And that, maybe it'll fade too with time, but I don't think so. That haunts me the most.
But what of Downs' fourth child, the baby about to be born?
I'd like to see him try to take this baby from me. And how? I got pregnant because I miss Christy and I miss Danny and I miss Cheryl so much. I'm never going to see Cheryl on earth again. And you can't replace children, but you can replace the effect that they give you. And they give me love, they give me satisfaction, they give me stability, they give me a reason to live and a reason to be happy. And that's gone, they took it from me. But children are so easy to conceive.
The father know who he is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's why I won't talk about it, because he feels as privately about this child as I do.
She's a freaking nut, y'all. Let me get out of this. Let me show y'all at her parole hearing. She still looks the same. Actually, Denise Rainey had this up on her channel. She still looks the same, just older. Okay. Let me cut it down for a second while the ad plays. Hold on.
You took your children to the hospital.
Oh, we don't want to watch the movie.
Aftermath of the
Oh, crap, guys. Let's let this ad play. I accidentally hit a button. Okay, maybe. Well, it's playing another one. Well, crap. Sorry. I'll get it in a second. I gotta close the player. It's kind of low.
Keller, the Helen Keller story. I received a phone call from someone who said that he wanted me to come pick up some photographs for my boyfriend, not of my boyfriend, but for my boyfriend, Rick. Rick is a guy that I'd been dating for about 6 weeks, and he claimed to be an FBI agent. Whether or not he was, I don't know. I certainly never called him at work or showed up or made him prove it or show a badge. It didn't matter to me. I wasn't, to me, it was just dating. But I received a phone call about 9:15 from someone who said I needed to come pick some photographs up for Rick. I piled the kids in the car. We went out to go meet this person to pick up the photographs. I stopped by Heather. Wow, I can't remember Heather's last name now. I stopped by Heather's house because I told Heather on the phone a few days earlier that I had a newspaper ad for her. So she had been wanting to buy a horse, and this was a newspaper
She's
ad
so full
that
of
would
it,
allow her
y'all.
to adopt a horse. So I had told her that I had a newspaper clipping for her that I'd found at work. So as long as we were going out to meet this guy to pick up photographs, we went by Heather's house. Heather said, I already got a horse just the other day. So we went to see the horse.
Oh my God, she drags
We got
on.
back in the car. We left. I went to meet this guy. Somebody in the road flagged us down. I stopped and got out of my car. And he said something to the effect of, I want your car. And I laughed at him. And I said, you've got to be kidding. Because in my mind, those kinds of things don't happen. In Arizona, those things don't happen. I don't know about Oregon, but in Arizona, those things don't happen. And so he jumped into the car, leaned into the car, and started firing the weapon. And it happened so quickly that by the time he stood up and faced me, it was over. I mean, it was just that fast. He said something about the car again, and I struggled with him. The gun discharged. He fell back. I jumped in the car, put the keys in the ignition and took off. The car door shut by itself. That's it. And I went to the hospital. Christy and Danny were in the back seat. When we got to the hospital, they were still crying. The nurses reported that they were still crying. The state says that I was the one that shot them and that I wanted them dead. If that was the case, I would not have taken them to the hospital still crying. There
Oh my
are
God.
so many other ways to accomplish such a horrific deed if I was going to do it. I'm certainly bright enough to figure out another way besides some way that looks so absolutely insane and hokey that nobody would believe it. I'm not dumb.
Yeah, you are, lady. You are dumb. Completely dumb, just like Susan Smith. Freaking monsters. They did it because men that didn't want kids. You gotta remember, these ladies never did really love their kids. To Susan Smith, her kids were a freaking burden. The same with Diane Downs. She only liked being pregnant because it brought her attention. She liked having something that loved her, but she didn't like giving love back. She didn't love the kids back. That's for sure. Yes, she's insane. They're never going to parole her. Never, ever. The only good thing that came out of this is Cheryl and Danny were adopted by the prosecutor and his wife. Now, in the recording I listened to, Christy acted like she didn't like living with them. She's a teenager at the time that this phone conversation took place. And it was with some lady from Las Vegas. Let me get the link to that. Hold on a minute. I'll get it on my phone. And you guys can go listen to it. It's kind of low, so you have to wear earbuds. Let me get in my video history here. I've watched so many damn things about her. Oh my goodness. Diane Downs, all interviews. Maybe I didn't watch that on YouTube. Yeah, I believe it was. Oh, I can't find it right now. Let me see if I can get my playlist. No, I don't see it in there. I don't know where I watched it at. Here is an interview with Diane Downs' brother, though. Now, there was a guy, turns out later on, from that town who had bushy hair. His name is Mark Coach, I believe. And people have theorized that it could have been him. No, there's no way. It was Diane. It was Diane. For sure. I think when they prosecuted her, the prosecutor actually brought in like a fake car and dolls to represent the kids. And he showed the jury with the gun how she shot them. Yes. But her dad and brother, like I said, they believe she's innocent. I don't know if her dad's still alive. He would be pretty old because Diane's like 65 years old. She'd been in prison like 36 years. I'm going to find that phone call. I can't find it. It's not showing up. I found it through Google, so Maybe that's why. I don't think it was on YouTube now that I think about it. But it's interesting. I'll find that for you and share it with you later. Anyways, that crackpot is right where she needs to be. Freaking weirdo. I wonder whatever become of the baby. Like, she was a surrogate for a couple. I wonder what happened with that baby. I wonder if they ever figured out their surrogate killed her kids later on. Probably, because it made national headlines. Hey, soccer mom of one. Weren't they all the kids shot, or was it just three? She shot all three of them. She killed Cheryl was dead when she got to the hospital. She shot Danny in the spine, in the back. I'm not sure where she shot Cheryl. I believe she was shot in the chest, if I'm not mistaken, or Christy, I mean. Cheryl died. Christy was the oldest. She was 8. Cheryl was 7. She's the one that passed. Danny was 3 years old. And she shot herself in the arm. Isn't it funny how these women claim, a stranger did it or an intruder? Like, Diane's kids, they were all shot up bad. But Diane was only shot in the arm. Darlie Routier, her kids were brutally stabbed to death. But her stab wounds were really not that serious. She was cut in the arm, and she was cut in the throat, which she done herself. Her cut on her throat kind of went like at a slanted angle, suggesting she did it. I do believe Darlie killed her kids. Like the kids, get brutally attacked, and these moms don't. That's a major, major red flag. Let's see. What else did I have wrote down? Oh, yeah. Diane had antisocial personality, which means basically she's irresponsible. Criminal behavior. It says often impulsive or aggressive. Disregard for any harm or distress caused to other people. Inability to maintain long-term relationships. She's narcissistic, which means she has an inflated sense of self-importance, deep need for attention and admiration, troubled relationships, lack of empathy for others, and histrionic. Her self-esteem depends on the approval of others. She's an attention seeker. Basically, she's a freaking psycho. I can't listen to that song. Oh, my chat's behind. Let me look at it on my phone. Sociopath, histrionic, narc. It's pretty much a type of narc. Oh, really? Hey, shine on. Kill shot kids, wing mom. Yeah, and she kept, Danny was shot in the back. And she kept telling cops, he was shot in the chest. She thought she shot him in the chest is what it was. It was dark. And she said she took the keys out of the car. But if she had took the keys out of the car, the tape cassette that was playing wouldn't have, been on. And her daughter, Christy, testified that Hungry Like a Wolf was playing. Oh, crap. So she lied about that. I thought I had my laptop plugged up to charge. Hold on. Oh, it's not plugged in. That may be the problem. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm tired. The holidays always wear me out. Sonia, my mom is histrionic, overtly sexual, will flirt with a fly, your boyfriends, all that stuff. Oh my gosh, wow. That's how Diane was. Now, Diane claims that her father sexually abused her. Now, she testified that in court, but she later recanted that. A lot of people are sexually abused. They don't act like Diane. I think Diane, when she was like a young girl, she was like awkward. She had trouble fitting in school. And then when she started maturing and developing, started changing the way she dressed, then she started getting attention from boys. Basically, she slept around. Diane slept around for attention, in my opinion. And she always went for married men. What's up with that? She always wanted a married man. We'll see if there's any true crime news before I get off here. I'm not feeling good. I don't know, I'm not feeling good. I feel like my sugar's low or something. Beloved church trustee, 82 and stepson are dead. Let's see what this says. Are dead after gruesome Thanksgiving Day family murder. Oh my goodness, let me pull this up on my phone. Shoot, I am not feeling good at all. I feel like it's because I'm not ate this morning. But I want to look at this before I get off here. See what's going on in the true crime news. Take some of these damn ads down. Tortured 9-year-old girl pulled unconscious, clothed from bathtub. Mom waits 45 minutes to call 911 as daughter says she can't breathe. I hope she made it. Look at that weirdo. She looks like she's high. Let's look at this. A Pennsylvania woman and her boyfriend have been accused of torturing the woman's 9-year-old daughter. Freaking ads. Medics were called to the home in Chester County this week where they found the girl critically injured. The 9-year-old girl had earlier been pulled unconscious from a bathtub wearing clothes. The report does not specify how the girl entered the bathtub or precisely when she lost consciousness. According to the report, the girl's mother, Julianne Lewis, waited 45 minutes after her daughter said she couldn't breathe to call for help. A police report obtained by the news station shows the girl was deprived of oxygen long enough to cause brain damage. While she was considered critically injured at the time of her incident, her current condition is not known. Subsequent investigation reportedly found evidence that Lewis's boyfriend, Demetrius, Charis or something, had been abusing and torturing the child, and that Lewis allowed it. Demetrius is accused is accused to locking the girl in a closet under a pile of clothes for up to 15 hours. Jesus. Hitting the child with a baton or curtain rod. They're both in custody and facing attempted homicide charges. I say take them out and hang them. That's what I say. Pieces of crap. I can't believe a mother would allow someone to abuse her child, or that she would abuse her child too. Let's see. What's up next? Beloved church trustee, 82, and stepson are dead after gruesome Thanksgiving Day murder. Not another one. Oh my goodness. It's so sad. Let me glance at the chat. It is heartbreaking. Dark Vision, weirdo. I like how CC says it straight. Hey, Dark Vision. Sorry, I missed the chat. They are freaking weirdos. Okay, let's see. So this poor man right up here must have been murdered. That's sad. Louisiana church trustee and his stepson are dead after a brutal Thanksgiving Day incident. NOLA.com reports that the incident happened Thursday morning at the home off of the 1500 block. I can't even talk. I've gotten real sick. I think my sugar levels dropped or something. Tracue Street in New Orleans. A stepson in the family fatally stabbed an 82-year-old victim identified as Elijah Johnson. According to police, Johnson's wife was then stabbed in the face. She's expected to survive. The suspect, D. Franklin Reynolds, 31, was then shot numerous times by a relative who intervened. Reynolds passed subsequent. They wrote this. It says Reynolds subsequently passed away. They can't write. Reynolds passed away. That's sad. So the incident started when one of Johnson's sons dropped off food for Thanksgiving. An hour later, Johnson's wife called authorities for help. That's crazy. This is just a tremendous loss for his family, and it's a tremendous loss for the church and his community. Willie Thompson, another pastor, said. Johnson, known to the community as Skinny, was a historian who loved to share information about the neighborhood. His son described him as a quiet guy, a sweet guy, a good guy. Johnson was both a trustee and an usher. He restored a lower Ninth Ward home that was damaged after Katrina, then ultimately lost his life inside the home. Sad people are crazy. Oh my gosh, I gotta get off here in a minute and get me something to eat, y'all. Yeah, I'm going to have to go eat something. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I got to where I was like stuttering my words, and I'm still doing it. But I wanted to look at this crime. I'm not feeling good at all. So there's an endangered child alert issued for 3-year-old girl who vanished Thanksgiving. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is searching for a young Tennessee girl. 5-year-old Zella Linklater was last seen Thursday afternoon in Chuckey, Greene County, off of Bumblebee Lane. According to police, the child's mother saw her in a car with a non-custodial grandmother, Melinda Wilson, when she disappeared. All the grandmothers took her. I hope she don't do nothing crazy. Hopefully she won't. Sheriff Wesley Holt said that the grandmother made an abrupt stop with while Zella's mother tried to follow them, then grabbed the child by the hand and disappeared into the woods. Police said the wooded area is extremely remote, and they're concerned about the pair being in the cold. The Greenville Sun reports prior to Zella's disappearance, her mother went to Wilson's house and tried to pick her up, but Wilson refused to hand the child over. That's when Wilson reportedly left in her car with Zella. Oh, I see. So she was there visiting. Man, people are freaking nuts. I mean, what good is, you got to be crazy to do something like this. Because if you get caught, you're never going to probably see this kid again. Kidnapping, you get a lot of time for kidnapping. A lot of time. You can get life. Yeah, why the hell would a granny do that? Okay, it says, after they were in the woods, Wilson sent a text message to Zella's mother that stated they were going for a walk and didn't want to be bothered. drones, K9 units, and a TBI airplane with thermal imaging capability soared the wooded area for the pair, but didn't have luck finding them. The Greene County Rescue Squad helped in the search. Holt indicated Wilson had concerns over COVID-19. The child's mother had recently gotten married, and Wilson had been taking care of Zella during her mother's honeymoon. Holt added that he did not think the grandmother would harm the girl. Well, you never know what somebody will do. She could kill the kid and kill herself. Pray she don't do that. Zella was last seen wearing snow boots and a red dress. She stands 3 feet 6 inches tall and weighs around 50 pounds. She has blue eyes and blonde hair. Anyone with information should contact the Greene County Sheriff's Department at 423-798-1800, or you can call the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. She's a cute little girl. She's so pretty. Let's go back up. She's so cute with her little blonde hair. Well, guys, I guess I'm going to get off here because I am like really sick. Really, really sick. I dread getting up because I'm dizzy. But anyways, I love y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. I may see you sometime this weekend. And check out 411 Now's channel if you're not subscribed. And he does a Saturday morning live stream. And he does amazing true crime. He does an amazing job at it. Anyways, love y'all. Be safe. Be kind. Peace. I can't even think straight.